What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Happy holiday season, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Happy, I guess, Christmas Eve is the day I'm recording, so happy Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. Happy holidays, etc., etc. I know I told you guys video content is going to slow down a little bit. That is still true, but I still am going to upload, you know? So today I want to talk about Gallade, who's one of, if not my favorite Pokemon of all time. Mega Gallade is probably my favorite. He just fits everything I love. And he's gotten a huge buff, so this is going to be VGC kind of talking about how Gallade is actually good right now. Actually, like, pretty good. I would call it, like, an A tier Pokemon. Not a meta staple at all, but something I think is a lot more maybe counter meta, maybe just like, he's a total powerhouse that hits a lot of things kind of surprisingly hard. Because it's a new buffs, and I'm also going to show off a couple sets and just talk about his place in the meta and what to expect from Gallade in this VGC 2023 Series 1 so far. So the biggest thing to Gallade is Gallade got this amazing new ability called Sharpness, which powers up the Pokemon's slicing moves by 1.5%. Slicing moves includes a lot of different moves. At least for Gallade, the moves that count are things like Aerial Ace, which isn't up here. Air Slash counts, as far as I know. Air Slash counts, but that's special, so you're not going to worry about that. Leaf Blade counts. You have Psycho Cut, which is Stab. Sacred Sword is the biggest one, for sure. I'm sure there's a list somewhere, I just didn't find it necessarily right here. X-Scissor gets powered up, which is awesome. Aqua Cutter, Aerial Ace. I think False Swipe does. Fury Cutter does. I'm not sure. Night Slash gets boosted as well. And Slash, of course, a lot of these moves, these slashing sword-based, you get the gist of it, things like that. Get a 1.5 power boost, which is crazy. That is a choice band, basically, power boost to this Pokemon. Which means that Sacred Sword now, with 1.5, is 135 base power stab move on Gallade. That is stronger than close combat, with no drawbacks. Still 100% accuracy, and it also ignores the target's stat defense changes. There is a ton of Pokemon right now that are raising their defenses, such as Garganacl, however you want to say it, with Iron Defense. You've got something like Corviknight, who can Iron Defense. Bronzong is also doing that. Orthworm is going to try to Iron Defense on you. These are all a bunch of Steel types. You also have Dondozo, who is a Pokemon you kind of have to figure out an answer for, that once it gets the Tatsugiri in its mouth, it gets a +2 defense as well. And a lot of them are going Terra Steel to make sure they are immune to Clear Smog and resist grass and stuff like that, and just be a really good defensive type. So there's a lot of Pokemon that are weak to fighting, or do not want to take a fighting hit, that Gallade is now able to smash, going through the defense changes with a 135 base power stab attack coming off of 135 as well. This is a strong attack, 194 attack. That is strong. That is a very strong hit. So Gallade's able to do a lot of damage. Outside of that, he always had a pretty interesting supportive moveset, just nothing to really do with it. It's not quite bulky enough to take on a role of like a bulk up setup sweeper. The 115 is great, and the 115 special defense is great. The speed is just a little bit lacking. The HP and defense are pretty bad. So it doesn't really have the ability to sweep that way. Your best way is, like, honestly, to agility sweep, but that's kind of a meme in VGC. It has cool support moves, such as it's always had Encore. It's always had things like Icy Wind, Knockoff, Helping Hand, Heal Pulse, Screens, Life Dew, which is also kind of a meme. Both screens, it has Taunt, Trick Room, Wide Guard, Trick, Will-O-Wisp. There's a lot of interesting support moves here. That it has Mystical or Hypnosis. There's a lot of interesting support moves that it's always had. And like the way you've ever tried to run Gallade in the past, or at least I have because I love him, is like super weird support of running like Quick Guard or Wide Guard, Trick Room, and you have like Knockoff and Icy Wind, something like this. You'd have like he's a Wide Guard user. There's not a ton of Wide Guard users in this format that are super spectacular. It's like Pelipper on rain teams, Hariyama is the best, Garganacl is good but also kind of wants to set up, and Armarouge might run it sometimes, but there's also other support moves Armarouge wants to run. So there's not a ton, I guess, of us wide guard user Pokemon. So a couple sets I'll give you guys examples of Gallade is, the first one I'm running on my team is a Choice Scarf Gallade. With Sharpness, I run Sacred Sword, Psycho Cut, which is both stab and boosted. Psycho Cut's 105 base power. I also run Night Slash, which lets him hit a lot of things in the meta, which is also 105 base power. Not stab, but still hits really hard. And Trick, just on Choice Scarf, just being able to trick a supportive Pokemon or something that doesn't really want to be fast. Maybe tricking something in the face of Trick Room could be really cool. So this is the set I'm running, and I'm running 252, 252, just double maxed out. This 132 speed, it lets you hit 198. The way I always do my speed is just simple calculator. 198. This lets you outspeed almost everything except for about Dragapult. And I want to say like Jolteon. Speed-wise, like Electrode's not really being used. Barraskewda and Dragapult are faster than you, but they're not really huge. Dragapult's good, but not like the biggest threat, at least to Gallade. And like Tailwind, you know, with a Tailwind support, you can get that. And you're getting outsped by like a Jolteon, I think. I'd say that's it. And Jolteon is not a good Pokemon in this format, pretty much whatsoever. Jolteon outspeeds you as well. But again, not really a big deal. So Barraskewda only really in rain, it's going to outspeed you anyways. Jolteon's outspeeding you, whatever. And then Talonflame has, you know, priority until it takes less HP. But after, you know, once Talonflame's not at full HP and it can't use Gale Link's priority, you are faster than it. You're faster than Kilowattrel, Weavile, Meowscarada is a huge one. And then pretty much everything else is slower than that. Mousehold. And you're able to hit these things really, really hard with Sacred Sword. Let's take a look at the meta right now and just see like all the things you hit with this set. And this is why I'm running this set. It's just the damage you can do. Night Slash smacks Goldingo. If ever Terra steals, Sacred Sword's going to cleave through it. Murkrow's going to get chunked by a Sacred Sword. Hydreigon's going to get one shot. Annihilate does not want to take a Night Slash. Amoonguss gets one-hit KO'd by Psycho Cut. Armarouge, Meowscarada. Indeedee does not want to take a Night Slash. Mousehold dies. Rotom and Torkoal get chunked. Garganacl's going to fall. Kingambit's going to fall. Dondozo does not want to take a Sacred Sword, especially if he goes Terra Steel, which is one of the most common Terras for it right now. Dragon Steel. Tyranitar is going to get nuked. Cerulege is going to get nuked by Night Slash. You see, we keep going. Like Vigoraph, Dragapult if it ever gets hit, Skeldurge, Baxcalibur. Why is Mousehold down here twice? That's weird. That's funny. Abomasnow, Hariyama, like we can keep going down. It's able to hit a ton of things on here. It even has more coverage, like Leaf Blade, Aqua Cutter. In case you want to hit other things, you could drop Trick for something like Leaf Blade, and just be able to chunk so many Pokemon for so much damage. The only thing about this set is like you are weak to Intimidate, which isn't super strong, but you could pair it with like a Kingambit or an Annihilate who really wants to be intimidated and get the Defiant boosts off. Or even just like Psycho Cut and Night Slash have a high crit rate, so you might be able to just ignore the Intimidate anyways, and still you're just dealing so much damage. Terror type fighting is the best offensively, just to make Sacred Sword do as much damage as possible. You could go Dark if you really wanted to not be weak to Ghost and have the stab Night Slash to really kill the Goldengos and stuff. Otherwise, the best fire, or the best defensive Terra is by far Fire. Just you're resisting Fairy, which is a big deal. You cannot be burned. That's huge. That's huge for you. You're also resisting Steel, which is just like super nice to be resisting right now in this meta. You could go like Terra Fairy, I guess, defensively, which isn't horrible. Dark is not bad either. A couple other Gallade sets you might run. This is the most like common and easy to use set right now is the Focus Sash with Sacred Sword, Psycho Cut. That's your typical. Then you have Trick Room, and you could be like a Focus Sash, Trick Room Pokemon. Be one of, I guess, like a semi-reliable Trick Room setter. And the last move could be like Protect. You can run Swords Dance if you want to try to, you know, bluff that crazy power and one-shot something. You could run Imprison. It's another cool thing it has. You can do Prison Trick Room tech. You could run Wide Guard. There's plenty of stuff here you could run. Protector, Wide Guard. I would, in my opinion, I would run something like Wide Guard just because there's so much spread around in this meta. So this is a pretty nice set, and you just 252 this, not that way. you just max this thing, try to get as fast as possible, and probably go Timid. Or Jolly, sorry. And just be as fast as possible, do as much damage as you can, and with your sash you're able to get, you know, one really strong hit off. Steadfast, Justified, they're not being used. This Pokemon before just lacked the ability, really. It had the tools, it had the moves, it had the tools. It just needed the ability to kind of push it over because it didn't really have the stats. And now it has that ability to give it the crazy power, and it has a lot of useful moves. It's still lacking the stats, but that's, you know, you're not going to get much out of that. Outside of this Gallade set, you could go all out if you had a very strong speed control team. You could try to run a Choice Band or even a Clear Amulet and like Swords Dance, and just, you know, go for your, just set Gallade up to like, I'm going to destroy something on my enemy's team. I'm going to just completely annihilate something on their team, and you just have to take this attack. Something like a Choice Band set could be kind of funny. I think Choice Scarf is just better for this though. And the a Swords Dance Gallade set could be run at this kind of the same thing with like Clear Amulet, Terra Fire, so they can't burn you, and you just Swords Dance up, and they have to take this attack. They just have to take an attack from you and be threatened. Something like this could be pretty good. So that's Gallade. He's not the most amazing Pokemon. Like, as you can tell, he's frail. He's very easy to kill on the physical side, and even especially, like, he's able to take some hits on the special side, but he's gonna get worn down. This is not a long-lasting Pokemon. This is one that's gonna kind of nuke you, and then you nuke it back, kind of thing. But it has a lot of power. It's able to hit a lot of very, very important things in the meta. Like a lot of top tier Pokemon just nothing on this list here really wants to take a hit from Gallade. Except for like Garchomp. Even Garchomp doesn't want to take like a Sacred Sword or a Psycho Cut. So Gallade's not too bad. For the first time in ever, this Pokemon's actually pretty okay. Which is just hilarious. It is just hilarious to see this Pokemon's like doing okay now. So that's Gallade. Let me know if there's any other kind of obscure Pokemon you guys want me to cover. I'm not going to cover anything like Dondozo that you've seen a million videos on. I'm not going to cover the popular Pokemon. I'm going to cover some more obscure Pokemon, like Gallade. Some of like the A tier, the lower usage surprise picks that are strong. So if there's anyone else you want me to cover, please let me know in the comments below. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will catch you guys next time. Happy holidays. Peace.